quick demo, and I'm gonna go to Carly too because she hasn't seen all this stuff before, so you guys can all see me in that picture. I should be orange, red, and yellow. So everything around me should be blue and black. Those are our colder areas. So, and I put that light on cue just so when I started. No, I'm kidding. So just to make sure you guys are paying attention. Some of you giggled, some of you didn't. All right, cool. I have inside jokes. Sure. So with that said, we're looking for the blue and black spots to actually move on their own. So intelligently. So there's going to be blue and black in there most of the night, and we're going to try to keep it on somebody's skin tone most of the night. So there's always going to be some type of form of blue or black in there, but if it starts moving and taking shapes and forms, that's what we're trying to capture here. So if I move out of the picture, the reason why we need anybody to stay in the picture is because that orange, red, and yellow is going to fluctuate based on what's inside the camera. You put somebody's skin temperature in there, you now have a base. We're going to be the warmest thing out here, even though it is a little warm in temperature for us anyway. We're still going to be warmer in skin temp. I'm losing names already. Was it Douglas? I'm trying to like remember because it's weird. The two guys booked. I'll be honest, most of the females booked this for their families, so it was kind of weird. I had two gentlemen booked tonight. So Douglas, this is going to be all you, my man.
Okay.
You're going to hold that horizontal for me all night long. Your hand is over the lens on the left-hand side. So,
I wondered what I had doing
why is it all
wrong.
orange? So the red square on there means that it's recording.
Okay.
So if it turns to a circle, just let me know. Tap it again. I just have to splice some video together for you, so that way you guys are all watching one video. This does record audio and video, so it gives you another point of reference for audio as well.
So it says you're supposed to leave a person in it all the time?
Most of the time. Yeah. We have a big enough group, it's probably going to be pretty easy for us to do that. Let's get into spirit boxes. As soon as I find the right one. Spirit boxes are ways for us to communicate with the dead. We're going to use 3 different types of spirit boxes tonight. So 3 different groups, 3 different spirit boxes. They all do something different. These things sweep through FM radio stations at a very quick rate. It's the white noise that Zach Bagans gives you on his TV show, and then he tells you what he thinks he heard. We're going to be doing that in real time. So with that said, this one records the entire FM radio sweep. It is slowed down versus the ones you hear on TV. It's not just white noise. Radio chatter is going to come through. So Gary, when you hear things on this guy, you seem pretty stoked, so I'm giving you my favorite tool. So when you hear something on this, whether it's a song lyric, a DJ, or a commercial, you might say, I'm just hearing radio. That's okay. If you can make out what they're saying, it's a 50-50 shot that it's actually matched up to the location of where we are, a person I'm talking about in history, or something going on with one of us. So again, the radio sweep, it will record even when it's on mute. So if I say, Gary, go ahead and turn that down, it's okay. It's going to record the whole thing anyway, even when it's on mute. It's really cool. I love this thing. So when I investigate, my own investigations, I just put it on mute and throw it in my pocket, and I listen to it later and kind of see what came out of it. So I'm going to set it up to record and show you how to use it. It's only one button that you need to worry about. There's a little wheel at the top. You're going to control the volume. So go ahead and try to find that wheel at the top. Turn it up a little bit, just so you get the gist of how it moves. There you go. Perfect. You got it. All right, so obviously when I'm talking, we're going to keep spirit boxes down. The second spirit box is the one that goes to London and her friend Carly because it's a shared item. So the reason why it's shared is because it does the exact same thing that Gary does, only it doesn't record. So I normally give this to 2 people, so that way they can verify each other. Does that make sense to everybody? Mm-hmm. So this one's already recording. London, you know how this one goes. Yeah. Turn it down for me. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. All right, last spirit box we're going to be using, because you guys need one in your group too, right? All right. This one's a little different. This one is actually going to give us a series of words as soon as the app opens on the screen, and then save all of the words that it gives us into a list. So in the center of the screen, obviously you see the word recording. Last night, they actually had 81 terms. That's a little heavy of what I'm used to in a 90-minute to 2-hour time period. I'm going to clear them out because they already have their list. You guys are going to start off fresh. Here's what I'm going to tell you about this list. 80% of it doesn't mean anything. This thing is meant to be a game. It's meant to be a hoax. The other 5 to 20% that actually matches up to where we are, that's where I'm going to give you the reason why it's relevant, and then a backlink of where I got my information from. It's not because I said so, it's because Britannica.org said so. Does that make sense? All right.
Elizabeth.
I said they moved around on me a little bit. Sorry. Elizabeth, this one's all you. So the only thing you have to worry about, I might say, hey Elizabeth, where are we at on the list? You hit the little calendar to the right, and then it'll give you the list. And then you just circle back. You can handle a phone, right? Yes. All right.
Well versed.
So that's all the spirit boxes that are out. Let's see what we want to get into here. think of who I got left.
This guy.
Yep. You're gonna be my extra techie guy. So this is a multi-purpose tool. It's called a millimeter. So if you guys have never seen a millimeter before, it has 3 different functions. The first thing it's going to do is it's going to give us an EMF reading with the big numbers. So anything above 2.5, I get excited about. So I'm going to have another EMF meter out and kind of relate on how that one works. The bottom one gives us ambient temperature. So in the event Douglas finds something, you're going to help us find out what that cold spot is by using the yellow probe at the top. And last but not least, it actually has a motion detector on it. So the motion detector is called a REM pod. So if you hear me say turn up that REM pod, that's what it is. So basically what happens here is there's an EMF field around this antenna. If something gets close to it, it's going to make noise. Obviously it's a little disruptive right now because of the parking meter ley lines are underneath us. So it's going to make a little bit of a disruption because it's a really strong force. But right now it's pretty calm. So if something gets close to it, it's going to go off. Just so you guys kind of get the gist of how that one works. So I do shut it off at times because it gets really annoying on the audio. What I need you to focus on right now are the big numbers. Again, anything above 2.5, and keep this little flap open in the back. It's just easier to access the REM pod. Oh, quite welcome. Quite welcome. So let's get into...
No.
Above 2.5.
Alright. Lasers. They never go to kids.
My bad.
Now, we can all see the dots on the ground, right? Why do we use lasers? Because you can't see the laser from the pen to the ground until something passes through it. So, we are literally trying to capture something going to be going through this guy. So, we have the green dot one, and then we have, make sure I'm not going to blind myself, we have red squares. Same principle, however, the person, this is normally a couple, so mom, I would say, I guess that would leave you great. So you guys are going to be working together. So with that said, because I have a special little high-tech craziness that I'm sure Dad will appreciate. So with that said, you two are going to be working together.
Okay.
So these will obviously go to you, and then you're going to be taking pictures through this. Hundreds of pictures. I don't care how many. The more the better.
How?
With a camera I'm going to give you. So it's a regular digital camera, and kids don't normally have how to use them, so I usually have to do a little tutorial. So the pen, there's a little dot that you have to hold, and they always go down. It's on the side down here.
Okay.
So lasers are always down. There is a laser law in Charleston, so if they go flying all over the place, I can get arrested. Just no pressure.
My ADD make you candle. See.
That's okay. This one actually has a toggle switch, so once you click it on, it stays on. So be careful that you shut it off before you move it around and it's not flashing drivers. You'll be fine. I do this every night.
I'm the laser queen.
You got it. So, yours is really simple. You have 2 buttons. There's no flash on this for a reason. I don't want false positives. Again, with the hundreds of pictures, you guys are going to get all of these back. The big button takes the picture. Mom, point one of those down for me. You're going to shoot through the laser. I know what the dots look like on the ground. Don't point it down, point it through it. I want to capture something here
Can you see the actual disc?
when we take pictures. Because it's going to be so quick, you guys are going to miss it. That's why I need you to keep clicking that taking the picture button, so that way we capture it. In the event your screen goes black, the little button next to the shoot button turns it right back on again. So that way you can start taking more pictures. It's all you. I'm going to assume you know what one of these are. Okay, so he has one over here as well, but you guys need one so that way you know when to stop and ask questions. I also figured you'd be helping out with that spirit box, so that's kind of why I'm kind of leaving things almost simpler on your end, so that way you have multiple pieces as well.
Yeah, we had stationary lasers. They were really cool.
So those are meant to be stationary. Are they? Have I captured stuff with them? I sure did. I caught something the other night. The biggest piece I ever had. Something probably around this big. Passed right through it. They didn't even know it. It was amazing. It was a great picture.
Wow.
Last but not least,
What is that?
new device.
What is it?
You left it right-handed.
I'm a righty.
You're a righty, so you're probably going to want to operate with your right hand, so I'm going to make it left-handed. So you're going to hold it with your left. This is a full spectrum lighting point of view camera. So what's the cool thing about this guy? You guys cannot see me in that screen, I'm betting. Yeah, I should be pretty dark if it is. Now we're going to turn on the full spectrum lighting. A lot different, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So
So you don't get blinded.
Exactly. And it's light that we can't see with the naked eye, which means it's going to capture shadows we can't see with the naked eye. Now, does this thing record? Sure it does. We're going to record about probably 2 locations out of this. The files on this thing are giant, and in order for me to compress them, it takes a lot of time. So we're trying to keep it small and save battery life. We'll probably have to change batteries about 3/4 of the way through. Like it's so basically because this is so new, we haven't caught anything with it yet. I literally want you to play with the toggle lights and let me know what works best. Is it switching the hands? Like whatever you need me to do, I'm going to try to accommodate. And I'm going to be working with you one-on-one, as I do with everybody. But I'm going to focus on the cameras first, just because there was more to learn. But I just want feedback. If we capture something, awesome.
Right.
But at the same time, there's a little, for the front ones, there's a little red switch right there. You just click it down. And then this one, you only worry about the top one. Now, the top one only. You push it up and then push it down to turn it off. It's a toggle switch.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Now the bottom one, just so you know what it does, gives us night vision. So the night vision draws a lot of attention to us. The cars and everything like that. So that's why we don't even bother with it. So, all you, my man.
All right.
Oh, by the way,
Yes, sir.
what about this thing?
Antenna?
Yeah, should
When I say spirit box is up, if you want to pull the antenna up, by all means do so. But as we're walking around, I would say it's probably not a good idea to have it out. I'm trying not to break it off.
Yeah.
Alright, so now that everybody has a device and everybody is somewhat geared up and knows what they're doing, let's talk about why we started here. So I gave you guys the address of 251 East Bay Street for a reason. Of course, it's haunted. So this place behind me used to be called Big John's. Big John was a football player for the 1947 New York Giants. He used to sit in the back of the bar and he would tell the bartender if the cadets that were coming over from the Citadel, if they were old enough to drink or not. It is a bar. One night, 2 guys come in, they're not old enough. So obviously Big John wants them out. So they leave pretty mad. So they come back the next night and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. Now, Big John sees what's going on. A big bar fight breaks out. A couple of shots go off. John gets hit in the neck and the bullet goes into the wall. So he gets up and he goes back to the bar and he tells the bartender to get him another beer and get the guys on the floor an ambulance. First off, the place is haunted. That's the story. Nobody died. And John's the one that got shot, but he's also the same one that got up. So what's haunting the place? The bullet hole is allegedly still here. So people that sit in the front of the bar tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, headache, light symptoms. I bring this story up on purpose because this is real paranormal activity that hopefully we're going to encounter tonight. So if anybody gets any of those symptoms, I need to know immediately. It hasn't happened in quite some time, but I will just put that out there. This isn't a scary tour, so I'm trying not to scare anybody. So let's get our minds off of our own health now that I've given you a small warning. This same building, we had a big earthquake here in 1886. If you haven't taken any kind of Charleston tour, they talk about that earthquake all the time.
So
It's
I
okay.
accidentally hit a button.
London, can you help him turn it back on record?
Yes.
So in 1886, this is apparently where the first death occurred from that earthquake. A piece of the mantle from the middle of the building in the front of it fell off, hit somebody in the back of the head and apparently killed him. And apparently you could see his ghost in the middle of the night. And I say all of this allegedly because I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue story, so you guys weren't thinking about getting sick on my tour. So,
So that's both stories from this
they're
place.
from this building.
Okay.
Are you guys ready to go ghost hunting?
Let's go.
All right, we're gonna head up this way. Good to go? All right.
Your head?
Let me take a look. You got this. Yep, she's got you good. You're not sweeping though. It's not sweeping at all. Let me fix it for you.
Didn't mean to hit that button.
No, you're fine. You're perfectly fine.
You get a haircut? You look different in the picture that was on the website.
Me?
Yeah. I swear.
Might be the hat.
Could be.
Go up towards the right, please.
Well, I'm
No
trying
worries,
to
I
not
have
to
a
fall.
spare one of these.
Trying to walk.
I use it for a different
No,
method.
when we go in, I'll do, you know.
We're not going in.
Oh,
Yeah, we're not going in anywhere.
Okay.
If you don't think you can do it, I can switch it.
All right, you're all set up now. Got it fixed. All right,
Are they
cool.
supposed to be on all the time?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I didn't think so. Just checking.
When I do the spirit boxes up, and trust me, there are different rules for the lasers in general, starting with this building. So let's start with that. First off, we are at the Big Red Barn lot. Again, I told you I'm going to take you to weird places. So The big red barn is where we keep horses for your carriage rides. You guys can probably smell them.
smell
I
them.
cannot. Yeah, I'm immune to it. So absolutely no lasers on the building. And also keep in mind, lasers, my lasers, are strong enough to set off car alarms. So we want to keep them off of vehicles as well. It's a big deal. Nobody likes to run with 10 other people. It's not fun. So, not to say I haven't done it before. No, it's not. I didn't put on my good running shoes. But anyway, so the only history here, first off, I want you guys to think of your entire time with me as kind of like a ghost hunting 101. So this is kind of like your level 1, very easy type of place. This is where I get to bounce around with all of you. It's kind of nice because London's here too, so she might actually help me out once she gets Carly set up. And kind of help you guys out with some of your devices, show you more definitive methods based on each specific tool that you have. The only history here is very simple. This is the same barn where we kept horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. So whenever I'm giving you keywords or stories, there's going to be keywords. Back there it was 1947 New York Giants. Here it's delivery, milk, and eggs. So let's talk about spirit boxes because we have 3 of them out here. Carly, you might want to listen up on this one. So I know they're back to chit-chatting. I just picked them up. So spirit boxes, this isn't TV, guys. This is not, is somebody here? Because if they answer no, somebody's here. So they answered you. So that's kind of the mentality that we don't ask yes or no questions at all on your spirit boxes. Okay, so we want the details. We want those very definitive things that I can make out. Yes, sir.
Like, what year is it?
Exactly.
How long have you been here?
Well, hang on. I'm going to give you some samples. Look at him jumping the gun. I love this guy. So at this particular place, it's going to be something simple like what we already know. What color is the barn? If somebody's here, tell me what color the barn is. You're going to obviously listen or look for the color red. If you don't hear the color red, remember, especially on the 2 spirit boxes that make noise, those particular things might not give them the opportunity to use the word red from a DJ or song lyric or commercial. It might be something that is specifically red, like fire truck, blood, heart. All 3 of those things are specifically red. This is about putting the clues together. Some of you might be getting little tidbits. You guys might be getting little tidbits over here. It's up to me, because I'm your lead investigator, to put all of those clues together to make sure what we have going on is lining up. Now, in the event you don't get an answer to what color is the barn, open it up. What's inside the barn? Now we have animals. They're horses, draft horses, that's their breed. Anything related to horses like stable or hay. But we also have the words delivery, milk, and calcium. Remember, milk and eggs could also be protein and calcium. Yes, you guys kept me busy repeating the same stories every day. So, again, these are all about putting the clues together. So, if you're hearing or getting double-digit numbers, it's more than likely going to be a jersey number from one of Big John's teammates. We are literally right behind the building. I also want the first name or something related to that person with that jersey number. I'm not going to get excited about one thing unless it's something like what's inside the barn and you guys hear the word horse. Yes, that's a definitive answer. But a number, I need to know what that number means. I need a little bit more clarification, and so do you guys. So again, we want those extra clues. So this is a place where you can put spirit boxes up. We don't want to go too loud next to these windows. There is no glass in that pane. So again, the horses will hear us. They don't like the white static. So you can listen, obviously, maybe 2 to 3 people huddled around you, like mom and dad, that'd be good. And then London knows the drill on hers, but yours doesn't make any noise, so you don't have to worry. I do want to work with the cameras first and foremost. London and Carly, if you guys, why am I missing your name too? Walt. That is the name of my fish. How can I forget that? I'm not kidding. So I will get it. So if you want to help Walt out with the millimeter, so that way we can actually be in and out of this location so they can learn some real history instead of trying to talk to ponies, that would be great.
Great.
So spirit boxes, let's turn them up. Lasers, I think you guys got the gist of that. I'm going to show you more once I get done with the cameras. So you're literally going to stand away from mom 2 to 3, 5 feet and take pictures through the
Turn them
lasers.
both on at the same time?
You can if you want. It's your show.
Wouldn't there just be horses there, though?
Not necessarily. We also have members of Big John. Is anybody's EMF meter going off? Do you have anything going on? You're pretty close to the building.
Yeah, I think this is the building.
So, yes. We're going to go over your list in a second. So, go through it. So make sure it's not down at the ground. I know it. There you go.
Straight across.
Straight across. Yep. No, bring it. Go this way. Bring it up this way.
Towards your body, sweetie. No.
Nope. Right there. There you go.
Sounds like a fun party.
Yeah, go ahead and turn them up. Yep, just turn the volume. Just enough to where you and mom or dad can hear it, so you're not too loud for the horses. Where's my cameras? Here. All right, so I think you and I kind of had enough jitter shots to kind of notice, like, with this one on, close, it kind of reaches out a little bit, right?
It just popped.
I want you to kind of just play with it back and forth. It'll get easier for you to go left-handed hold it or right-handed hold it. Alright, so now this way, you're going to aim this way, and this one's going to go straight. Just so you guys have a better
I just flipped it on for a minute.
Okay.
I would consider that the bed alpha test. How about
There
that?
you go. Because the next location where I want to definitely get a recording.
Okay.
Here, I just want to get you to kind of, there's some lights over there, so I want you to kind of play with it back and forth, dark and light.
Yep.
I want you to see what that kind of does. Douglas.
Yes,
so
sir.
Do you have the kind of gist of why I want to keep a person in there at all times?
Yes.
All right, so
Yeah,
just to
because when you go up here, it didn't have a reference point. So,
point it at the wall. Should bleed out.
yeah.
Keep it there.
Right.
See how the wall changed back to blue?
Yep.
Because my hand is always going to be warmer
The
than
warmest thing in the picture is going to be red or orange.
white.
White. Okay.
So it's the way the spectrum works. It's white, orange, or I'm sorry, white, yellow, orange, red. Then it switches over to light blue, darker blue. Then
Okay,
goes into
so
a
red's
white.
not hot.
Red
But not
is hot.
well,
It's not as hot as white.
white. Okay.
So red is where it's going to transition into the blue. So you should, like the white areas, like you're going to see some white outlines on there from people and buildings and whatnot.
Right. Okay.
It's just a matter of helping you see 3D.
Kind of like the circle.
Well, the circle up there is probably, it's definitely from the light. Without my glasses on, it's kind of hard to tell if it's, but it's definitely going to outline certain things.
Okay.
So, but again, in here, just get a quick gist of how metal, asphalt, and wood and brick work together. Just kind of make a couple of 360s.
Okay.
Give him a few minutes to listen to this. I want to see if he captures anything. Just kind of keep an eye on that antenna. It is dark out here. I don't want anybody getting poked in the eye.
Right.
But I think he's going to do a great job. He's super stoked. He's already on it. I love how
He's really excited.
yeah.
I am going to catch a ghost.
Morning.
Yeah?
I'm going to hear a ghost.
Maybe he's going to teach me a few things. So, you have the gist of looking at the antenna.
The pavement's still hot, even without a person in it.
Yeah, but the point is if I put,
Right.
does it turn?
Nope. That's what I was looking at. That's what I was trying to. Right. It's still red back there. That's what I was trying to. Right. And then it's hot up there where that light's, I guess, been shining. I don't know. Something warm up there. But anyway, I'm just trying to. But then you get up over here, and then the barn becomes red, but now the barn's blue. Okay.
I had it backwards. It's not light. I don't know.
Well,
I'm sure they work somewhat, but like any electrical thing, but like
right.
my thing is fine. Yeah, I think you're supposed to be asking questions. Did you hear me?
I don't know if he can. Gary?
Here. Are you asking questions? What are you listening for? You gotta listen for, if you ask a question, you're listening for the answer. Like,
Hold on.
they
Where
ask
am I
you-
supposed to say it into? Like what?
Just out here.
Just say it.
Like, what color is the barn?
What color is the barn?
Turn the volume up a little bit.
What color is the barn?
but I travel over.
Yes.
So I turn it on where this starts blinking when this gets over 2.5, right?
Not necessarily. So at our next location,
Here, turn the volume up a little bit. Ask what kind of animals. What kind of animals are in this building? Put the antenna down. Girlfriend? Oh. Huh? Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. It literally, I asked, what was that? And it said, what was that?
interesting. Did you hear anything on yours over there?
No, I asked 2 questions, and all I heard was country music. But,
Okay.
I mean,
you know, potato.
church music is what we got.
If you get
Fits
this,
in with horses.
you get this recording.
Yeah, like
Oh.
it'll. We want to keep the whole thing all night long because we never know when an answer's going to come through. So, welcome to another beautiful site.
Okay.
All right. So this place used to be the Pinckney Mansion site. So Eliza and Charles Pinckney lived in the front. That's where their mansion was. It faced East Bay Street. Eliza's garden started at that left tree and came all the way across. We are standing where the servant quarters would have been. So, what happened here? Let's kind of go through this. So, Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles, had a nephew named Charles. The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution of South Carolina. Pretty big deal for us here in Charleston, but you guys are on vacation, and nobody here wants to talk politics. So, I can almost guarantee that you do. It's probably what you do for a living, isn't it?
No, but we can get into it. Go ahead.
I'm going to move on. So, let's kind of go into what is not going to happen here. So I'm not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the red barn. You guys are going to get questions or the answers out of your spirit box. I'll kind of give you some hopefully inspiring questions at the end. Am I boring already?
Sorry.
I know,
It's past my
history.
bedtime.
It's that constitutional talk, isn't it? I knew it. See, that's why we don't do that. Good job. All right, so number 1. Eliza and Charles got married at a young age. I'm not going to tell you what age Eliza was, but I'll tell you that Charles was over double her age. So they got married because Eliza, her dad over in England, thought he was dying. He wanted to see all his kids one last time. Eliza didn't want to go. So she put her foot down, got married. This is the 1740s, so getting married did not give her citizenship. It basically just said, Dad, I'm not going anywhere. And she was right. Dad did not die right away, at least from that illness. And he starts sending over gifts from England. One of those gifts happened to be the plant indigo. You guys have been here since Monday. I guarantee you've seen that word more than once. So indigo is a plant that makes blue dye, that makes our blue jeans blue. We have a couple people wearing it tonight. So that's how we still use it today. Pretty cool stuff, actually. So here's what happened with the indigo. She started experimenting with it here, had to learn from her servants and slaves how to keep it cultivated in our weird temperatures. It does get cold here in the wintertime. So in order for her to do that, she learned from them. Once she got it down, she moved the crop over to Slee Farm in Mount Pleasant, which is just north of here. Oh, perfect. So you guys probably know exactly where it is. It's right up along Point Road. It's actually a Charles Pinckney Historical Monument there. So once she got it cultivated, she calls Dad up and says, I need somewhere to sell this stuff. So he starts giving her contacts. She's now selling indigo overseas. Think of the color royal blue. That's where indigo came from, or where that royal blue came from. It came from indigo. Think of the Civil War. The Northerners, they wore blue. Confederates, they wore gray. Both of them are indigo. The gray is just less indigo than the other. So again, indigo is a long history, but a lot of it started right where you're standing, which is really, really cool stuff.
And where the Masters is played, the Indigo Plantation.
Yes, exactly. Indigo is all over here. So, and again, indigo is already here. Eliza just capitalized on it. So again, I'm not trying to take anything away from anybody. She's just the one who made the money. So we're just going to put it at that. She's done a lot of things for this country and the colonies. But let's kind of get into the weird facts about her so we can get started on the spirit boxes and the rest of all of these cameras. Yes, sir.
Was she obsessed with her?
I wouldn't say obsessed. I would say motivated is the right term.
Yeah.
Money is quite motivating.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles, back to back. So, oh, we're getting some ratings now. I've seen that flash look on your face. So, both Elizas go by their maiden name. They both start with the letter L. That's all I'm going to give you. So, spirit box people, maiden name is the name a woman has before she's married. So, some of you know that, some of you don't. Just like to explain it, we got younger kids here. So you can ask anything you want to about Eliza's death. How old she was when she died, where did she die from, where is she buried, what U.S. president was a pallbearer at her funeral, meaning pallbearer is the people that carry the coffin to the grave. So again, a lot of people go after that question first because it's so unique. You can ask what happened to the mansion. It's obviously not here anymore. You can ask when that tragedy happened. So hopefully you get a year, giving you the clue that it is a tragedy. So speaking of tragedies, kids. I already told you she had at least one son named Charles. If you want to ask about the kids, there is a tragedy among one of those children. Tread lightly. All of your activity, in the event we actually have any, will stop because we're poking the bear too hard. Maybe ask how many kids she had, how many boys, how many girls, get their names, and then let it lie. Leave it alone. We'll take the evidence as is. If she wants to talk about that tragedy on her own, I'll know based on what you guys are telling me you're hearing on your spirit boxes or what's going on with the word list. So, again, I think I've given you enough to kind of get you started. If you go rogue with those questions, please let me know what you're asking so I can see if it matches up to anything else going on in the other groups. So, cameras, definitely want to start recording here. So you got to hold that top button down. It's the next one over. It's the one that's glowing. There you go. So go ahead and start recording here. Definitely get some good sweeps in here. I'm going to show you some evidence, Douglas, if you give me just a minute after I check everybody in.
Okay.
Definitely get your REM pod going here. So we're going to do a couple of tests in here, get some EMF readings. Let's find out what's going on in this place and let's see what we can capture. Gary, go find me some ghosts, man. You got this?
Okay,
Yes?
kind of weird. Where were the energies? What happened?
You didn't get much. Yours is actually a little bit, I don't want to say it's, I'm not guessing what I'm hearing when I'm going through the data. This gives me the word. It tells me exactly what the answers are going to be. But again, just keep in mind, most of it doesn't mean anything. It's up to me and you to figure out if it actually means something pertinent to you. Make sense?
Yes.
All right, you got it. All right, let me show you some evidence and then I'll check everybody in. So, oh, by the way, this was caught here last night through the laser grids. Like this big blob, not supposed to be there. So, that was just the other night. I'm like,
Right.
that's the biggest thing I've caught from the grids. I was so excited. So this actually happened here, up in that top right-hand corner. You'll recognize where the film is being. So, obviously the orange is the wall.
Right.
You see the two living people above the wall? They're walking past it on the street. So we're going to fast forward and find the dead people. They're going to come up right about, oh, passed it up. They're going to come up, they're going to go the opposite way. Right about there.
Oh, the dark thing.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's kind of what you're looking for, those
Okay.
darker things to move on their own. So I've analyzed this, I can't tell you how many times with firemen and whatnot who actually use that thing as a tool. It's legit. Like, it's not a car, it's not other people. Like, it's legit.
Okay.
So,
Well, this one's handy too because there's a lot of red stuff. So
people
the
do not
spot
like their
works.
cars being filmed, I'll tell you that. So this being one of the lots that people get a little hairy about their cars being filmed, if somebody's walking to their car, just kind of casually hold a cell phone kind of thing. But otherwise, get as much as you can out of this place. Nice, still, slow movements. And if you want to obviously record your family, by all means do so. That
Okay.
way you can get a double order of what's going on with this spirit box.
What's the name of it? How many boys and girls do you have? Can we tell them about the 5? Yeah.
Down. So, yeah, I mean, when it's going crazy like that, go ahead and keep testing it, because it could possibly just be from your movement, so you want to kind of reset that EMF to go straight back up and down again. What have we heard? You guys seem excited.
We asked how many kids did you have, and we heard something like 5.
Definitive. We want the answer. London has already heard the name of the president. So, granted, she knows the answer. So, but her friend Carly claims to heard a part of it as well. So it's kind of it's a mixed reading. Because London knows the answer, she has that subliminal message.
Right.
So
you're listening for that.
It's so hard though.
I have
Yeah.
no idea what that is. I've
Hard to
never
hear
seen
on
that.
Because
on that
sometimes
list.
you get some like rap music and I'm like, oh, what they just said.
Yeah.
I have no idea what it means. So I'm gonna actually do Google Translate and see what comes up. That is really weird. It's okay. We can go back up on the wood.
Yeah, back where we were at.
Over there, we were getting like 5.
Nothing's coming up. It says Spanish detected, but it doesn't give me an English translation.
It would have been cool to do some wrestling in Germany.
Yeah, she said that was when I was talking about their money.
So when you said that she called up her dad, you mean like letters?
Yeah, it would have been by ship.
Oh,
Oh yeah, she didn't call him. No phones back then. So. Alright, so. I've heard that you've gotten up to 10 so far, as far as your. Just keep in mind that hers goes up to 25. Yours can go all the way up over 100. I've seen 116 as a spike so far. So kind of speak up when you get anything, again, above 2.5 and it's kind of going all over the place. So we'll kind of see how high we can actually get it in this location. Obviously, your is going absolutely nuts in here. So something's going on. Oh, she took off with the spirit box. I was like,
Elizabeth,
it's
here.
okay. Sure. So with the spirit boxes are probably the most excitable people that we have. So with that said, people usually hover around the people with the spirit box. So without the teacher kind of hanging out, I want you guys to all work together to see what you guys can get out of that spirit box. And then of course Gary's hogging that thing.
Yeah.
So let's kind of see what we can get him to help you guys out with. The EPI kind of up. So go ahead and turn the volume up a little bit, so mom and dad can help you kind of listen in. Fair?
She was listening in. I have trouble. I hear a lot of random
this
stuff.
Is honestly, these two, like the one that he has and the one my daughter has, these are the two hardest devices I have, because you guys aren't trained to listen to this
Right.
all the time. So
There was a bunch of stuff coming up, and I'm not quick enough, I guess, to get it. This is easy because if I see movement, I know.
Right.
Of course, usually so far there's been a person over there, and I just didn't see him yet.
now,
But-
even with his,
Yeah.
because some people just can't listen to it, I will give you the audio markers of like 15 to 20 things that I
Right.
caught, whether it's relevant or not. So that way your ear gets trained for like, oh, it did say Dodge Caravan. Do you know what I mean?
I looked at, when on your website, I looked at one of your evidence
Okay.
folders just to try to get an idea of
Sure.
what was going on. I'm the family skeptic.
Okay.
So, but he told me a few years ago that he was just disappointed that he thought his meaning of life was to talk to ghosts. So, he's tickled. I'm
You know
trying
what's
to.
funny is I didn't say it tonight just to see if anybody would confess. I normally ask that you don't tell me who the skeptic is.
Okay.
Only because if I know who it is, which
Yeah.
now I know it's you, I normally would focus on that person,
Right.
trying to convince them, but I know why you're here. And
Right.
I think it's fantastic that, I mean, dude, this shit's legit. Like,
Well, and I was way more skeptical. I don't want to take up everybody's time. Basically, there's a migrant house back at our home in Missouri that our family has for migrant workers. And they kept saying that there was a chair moved and a light kept turning on. Well, basically, my dad's cousin, long story short, he comes in to winterize it, turns all the faucets on, turns the pump off, and when he's leaving, all the water kicked back on. And he's more skeptical than me. And he was telling us about this. Well, come to find out, a couple years before that, a woman broke into there, sat at the table, and then when she left, she walked 100 feet to the interstate, stepped in front of a semi, and killed herself.
so what I do here, because it is family friendly,
Right.
is that none of this stuff is scary.
Right.
It's history. It might be a little boring for him, but he'll get it later on, especially
Right.
if he's into it like you say he is.
Right.
When he listens to this a year, 2, 3, 5 years from now, I don't know how old he is, but when he starts
He's
getting
11.
into it, it's going to be more. Oh yeah, that's right, you did tell me. Once he starts getting more into it, he'll realize the different methods that I'm pulling with you guys tonight and why we're doing what we're doing, and hopefully it'll help him later on if
Right.
this is something he's going to get himself into. Now, granted, I do this for a career.
Right.
You know what I mean? I went to school for writing, so everything to me is about the afterlife. That's
Right.
why I do this. I need nonfiction to tell me better fiction.
Right.
That's why I write the books that I do. You have a word. You've been waiting.
Flowers.
Yes! Flowers. Good stuff. So that is... Circle back. Let's see if we missed anything. Still on database. I'm excited about flowers. That's obviously very relative to here. She didn't just plant indigo and crops here. She had flowers here too. So that is definitely... Was it a specific question that you asked, or was it just... Because a lot of times...
Do you believe in love after love? How old were you when you died? How old were you when you died? How many kids did you have? How many kids did you have?
What happened to the house?
What happened to your house?
I do want to know what happened to the house.
You hear that? He's asking. See, I was asking if James has any significance. Right. Well, it might be one of those things.
What happened to your house?
But then there was a Jason Aldean song, so but I don't think person's name. Messed up.
Something about $6,000.
Yeah, I don't know that that answered anything. What's other questions?
Do you know what his first question was?
No.
How did your children die? I was like, no, he said not to ask that.
Oh, yeah. What was your maiden name? What was your maiden name? Little?
What was your maiden name? What was your maiden name?
What was your maiden name?
What were your children's names?
John?
Even though you guys lighten the bag, it's still got a little weight to it. Still hot out here. All right, so let's go ahead and turn those spirit boxes down. Let's turn the REM pod off, Walt.
It just went up like a bunch.
How much?
Like over 2.5, like 3 times.
Okay. His REM pod's going crazy too, as we can see. You've obviously had some spikes with the EMF here. Mary, did you end up hearing anything out of yours?
I mean,
Possibly.
I got something, but I don't think it was.
What was it?
Said something about something leave. I don't know.
Did something leave?
Yeah.
They had asked about the president, said something about James, and then you asked about maiden name, said something about Little.
So both of those are wrong.
Yeah.
So again, I don't make things up for you guys. I'm still kind of keeping an eye on that thing. How high is it? Just let me know when it really like goes above like that 10 mark of where you were. Because right now your highest has been 10.
Does it mean anything when mine goes like yellow?
No, it's just part of the aesthetic of the game. So they just want it to look scary. So we did get questions being asked of what was your favorite plant, and then flowers came up on her spirit box. So that's definitely relevant. So again, obviously she planted flowers here too. London heard the president, but again, London knows who the president was as far as the pallbearer. So I am going to kind of go with that skeptical subliminal message that she already knows the answers, but Carly heard a piece of it as well. London says she heard George Washington, and that is correct. So we're going to kind of go with that and see what else pops up around George. So it was very specific. They also got another little phrase that popped up, which also makes sense to them only. Watch your fingers. Okay. Sorry, I'm going to be dad with that.
That's okay.
But
Holding them both in one hand.
London is out here with me pretty much every time she's down here, so it's probably a good 6 to 7 tours a night. They know me just as much as they know London. The phrase that she got, "You're not a guest." She wasn't asking anything. It was just a matter of she was holding the spirit box, and that phrase came through loud and clear. So again, something very pertinent to what's going on around us. So you didn't tell me that you saw anything crazy out of your camera.
Nothing
Any
yet.
shadows coming out of yours? Okay, again, still testing, so just the fact that you're giving me feedback is amazing. I love the fact that his thing's going off. He is moving around a lot, so I kind of have to discount it a little bit. Let's get you guys the answers. You guys were asking me what happened to the mansion. So it caught fire in the Great Fire of 1861. So every tour guide has a great fire that they talk about because Charleston has had dozens of them. So this one in particular went from Peninsula Coast to Peninsula Coast. The mansion was just in the way. The only pictures we have of the place are after the fire. So it is pretty much destroyed. So let's talk about other years. Let's talk about Eliza's death. She died at the age of 70 in 1793. That's a long time to be living back then. She died in Philadelphia from breast cancer. Let's stop and think about that for a second. 1793 and breast cancer. There's no such thing as cancer here. We're going based off of her medical records. 9 out of 10 websites will tell you, credible websites, that it was breast cancer. So the last piece of that was she was also buried in Philadelphia. So if that answers the question of do we actually go to cemeteries? First off, Charleston's one giant cemetery. second off, you're not going to hang out near your grave when you're gone. You're going to come to places you love, which is why we go to the places that we go to on the tour. So, the children, Charles, Thomas, George, and Harriet. The tragedy was with George. George was an infant when he died. We don't know if he was days or weeks old. There's no headstone, there's no grave for George. So George is lost. We have no idea where he is. So George was named after Eliza's father. His name was also George. So again, that's why I look for all those extra clues. We have 2 Elizas, 3 Georges, 3 Charleses. So again, I always look for that extra piece of clue to tell me which one is which. So Eliza's maiden name was Lucas, which makes her father George Lucas. A lot easier to remember on your end. So let's see, and then the other wife, her maiden name was Lamb. So the 2 maiden names we were looking for were Lamb and Lucas. So not Little. Sorry about that. Let's see here. So from here, what other questions were you guys asking? Anything that you went off road with? Oh, when she got married, she was 22, and Charles was 45. So I said young age, not very young age. So young in our eyes today, I guess.
Yes, and her husband. Or how old he was when he died.
And what number did you get?
I don't know.
Okay.
She was born in 1723. So that's 1745. Died.
Correct. Got it.
I was born in 1993, so she's
200 years older than you. I would tell you that Charles died not long after they got married. I want to say it was like 14 years. So, yeah, he was pretty young.
She never remarried?
Nope. Just took in the money, let it ride.
He was a wealthy planter or a merchant?
He was actually a politician.
Okay.
So Charles Cotesworth, the son, turned into one of the governors for South Carolina.
Colonial governor.
Right.
And then after the revolution, or after the secession.
Right. There was all kinds of political movement in there. Thomas, the other son, actually became the ambassador for Britain for the colonies.
Okay.
So, like I said, there was a lot going on within that family.
Keeps going down.
Very well connected.
Very well connected. So when George Washington pops up, it's only because he knew the family so well.
Right.
He knew what Eliza did for the colonies, not to mention all of their kids turned into something. So, all right, from here, guys, we are actually going to go up about 3 blocks to Lodge Alley. Your spirit boxes, go ahead and listen for names along the way. I'm not going to tell you what gender, but look for names. What do you got? Denise. Dennis. So, listen for names. I'm not going to tell you the gender or what names they are until we actually get there and what they actually mean.
I heard on the screen, so it might actually.
Okay, she heard on the screen, so we have 2 video cameras out tonight, so we'll see what comes up. Lodge Alley is a brief stop. We'll only be there for like 5 minutes. You guys are all on vacation. You need to see some Charleston cobblestone. So I'll tell you what that location is. Then we'll go learn some legends and lore, and then do one final big investigation like this one, looking for a female pirate. So I'll get into that story obviously at the very end. But let's go see what we can capture through Lodge Alley. So Mom's watching the time. She's ready to go to bed. Yes. EMF meters. They are going to go off along the way because of the parking meters. Don't get excited. There's no ghosts. Definitely no lasers along the way. So, all right.
But the spirit box is on.
I know.
Yeah.
Listen for names.
Names. And if you need help remembering them, we'll be with you, okay? Turn it up where you can hear it.
That's
Sorry, Gary.
So it's difficult in
You're saying went wrong, or you're saying it right?
I've got something funny to tell you later. I was walking back to get the car. There was these two girls who come out and they had like fancy cars. They're standing in one of those houses down on Sullivan's Island. And they went out. They were throwing the car minutes away. So they just gave up, threw them away.
To have someone come pick us up.
I know. I like it.
I saw him running.
You okay, buddy? We're not really watching this. If we watch it here, it's just gonna be a mess. Sorry, dude.
I'm just trying to save my hands right now.
I know. I'm sorry.
Singing sweet song.
Great. Yeah, I don't know.
Steering box is down. This is a quiet area.
I got him.
Grace. Interesting. Got a couple?
No.
Alright, so welcome to Lodge Alley. Did you hear any names? I know we have the name Grace on the digital word list. Did you guys hear names?
No. I swear I heard James.
James? James again? Yep. Alright, so. Alright, this is my show, buddy. Step aside. He's like right here in front of me.
Yep.
I love it. Alright, so we are going to be brief here. So when we crossed that last crosswalk, that was the original Charlestown Wall. It went up Cumberland Street. So we're going to have these folks pass through, just so you know. Better come right up to them. Hi, guys. Good. So we are literally standing in the middle of the original Charlestown. This is one of the first streets we ever had. That's why I like to bring you guys up here. The cool thing about this is these two buildings weren't here. This is where shotgun houses used to be. So people used to live here. I have the full list of residents of every person that's ever lived here. Common names that I get that normally show up together, Benjamin and John. Why them two? I don't know why, but that's 2 out of 5 people that lived here in 1801. So again, the fact that they show up in their names among their spirit boxes in the same night together about once every 6 to 8 weeks or so, I don't find that uncommon. So, no, it's not a census list. It's actually from an archaeological dig that the Charleston Historical Society did to try to find out more about these people. The entire thing is inside of everything that they could possibly make up out of these clay bricks that we're walking on. So these people, the only thing that they really found was that they were lower class. They found some of their tools, silverware, and think about it, the rest of the Charlestown Wall was going down East Bay Street south towards the Battery. So I'll point out the other side of the wall as we get towards the end. But the smell of low tide would be coming through here quite often. But Nick, there's big giant houses on the Battery down at the end. They're huge mansions. They're angled just so they can just catch the breeze. There's no air conditioning in the 1800s. So that way they're not getting the smell of low tide, and that way they're getting the breeze. Not to mention, when your house is long going back, you have less taxes to pay for the width of the front of your house. So again, there's a lot of reasons why those houses were built the way they are down here. But down here, that smell of low tide, I'm standing on somebody's stoop. This is how close their neighbors were. So again, this wouldn't have been a very pleasant place to live, at least for them. So this is also where the Masons used to meet. So they did have a Masonic lodge here before it turned into shotgun houses. That's why it's called Lodge Alley. So we do get the term Mason here quite often. So this is Lodge Alley Inn. Every hotel has a claim of a ghost. Starting next summer, my wife and I, probably London, will be doing basically a ghost hunting tour around all of the hotels to see how legit they are. So there's more podcast episodes. So I will post if they are actually haunted or not based on the equipment you guys have in your hands. So it's going to be very interesting because we're building a new tool this weekend. We're building an SLS camera for my own private investigations. If you're not familiar with that, that's where the stick figures show up on the screen. So that's going to be a new tool for me only because it's too large to be carrying around because it needs a computer to kind of monitor it. So we're taking that to the St. Augustine Lighthouse in September. So hopefully we get that finished this weekend. London's going to be doing some research for me as I piece it all together. It should be really cool and fun to play with. So from here, we're going to, again, be cutting through a neighborhood. Tour guides are not allowed to be tour guides in neighborhoods. So definitely no spirit boxes, no light boxes, no lasers, until we get to our next location. And then we'll kind of chat about some of the legends. And then we'll go look for that crazy pirate that I was telling you guys about. What do you think? Pretty cool stones, huh? I know they're old.
Pictures in here?
You can take pictures going either way. We don't want to do lasers because down there is resident. So they get a little weird about the residency, even though there's a hotel right here. Sure.
Processor. That means like a computer processor is
Somebody fake making this. Because if I looked here, it would just look shit.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
A little bit.
always.
Because you're holding something.
Hope you have a good intern.
I do. My shippers aren't always as quick as I'd like them to be. Sometimes I have to wait for days. I actually had to switch insurance when I added that guy.
Yeah.
Now I'm considered an EV tech. with all the equipment because I added an extra camera.
Oh wow.
Some like requires a different level of insurance.
Sure. Yeah. Who does that kind of insurance?
Company called Next. So they cover tour guides basically. So I have Arizona missions, I have general liability,
Sure.
and I have equipment insurance. So that way, in case I
Arizona mission. That's odd. Is there something wrong with our tour?
basically slander
I see.
in written format.
I got you.
Or if they slander me in written format. There's a lot of lots out there.
I get it.
There's an arm that turn out factories, and it said arms, and it said
Stories and stories. I get
here's arms,
Give me a break.
I got it.
Oh yeah.
No, we're till tomorrow. We've been here since Monday.
There's what?
I don't get fucking tickets to cop. Meter to cop, whatever. Yeah, I do it.
Meter mate. You used to keep the old envelopes or the slips. Stick them under your thing if you didn't have change for the parking meter. Just go ahead and put them under your windshield wiper.
What make it? You already got one?
Yeah.
I've heard of it. And trust me, I've seen your water bottle enough to get that saying in my head.
Alright. This is where I kind of let your list kind of dictate what stories I'm going to tell.
It said armed, and I asked what was armed, and I said backpacks.
Makes sense. When you're a powder magazine. Nothing specific other than Armed Factory, which would be basically relevant to where you guys are now. But I'm going to tell the story. I'm going to actually drop the bag for me. My back is drenched, so you guys know. Not that you guys needed to know I'm all sweaty, but I'm all sweaty. So, did you guys notice the alley we passed up when we were coming up Cumberland?
I said it was cool.
Yeah, it's gorgeous down there.
Yeah.
It's actually the prettiest spot we have in all of Carlton. If you guys didn't get a chance to see it in your time here, take a walk down during the day or night, it doesn't matter. I can't take you down there because at the end of the residence and not piss off the new neighbor. So, yeah. It is what it is. But I'm going to tell you the story of what we all kind of know about that. So you guys can move in a little bit closer. I know it's really warm tonight, but other tours are going to be passing through. Normally I'm across the street where that guy took my spot. So, basically from here you can see the one wall of that alley. So that used to be called Duelers Alley. So that's where all the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. It's now called Philadelphia Alley. Easy to remember because that's where Eliza was buried. So in case you forget in the next day or so while you're still here. But duels, there's a gate in the doorway. The reason why it's there is because when there was a loser from the duel, they would pick up the dead guy and they would bring him over the courtyard and then over to St. Philip's Cemetery where they would drop the body and then go celebrate the winner at a local pub. So that's kind of how things went, but we all tell the story of one specific duel because we can actually prove it. So, Doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Joseph Brown Ladd. I say his name slow because his name likes to pop up on our spirit boxes as I'm telling the story. So he moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her deceased parents. So the attorney was handling that money said, you're not, I don't think he's, in it for love. He's in it for your money. Send him away. So he moves down here to prove that he's not just after the money. As he's coming into town, the coachman that was bringing him in set him up to be robbed and killed. He's dressed pretty well. This is a doctor, so it looks like he's got some cash. So, not a very good start. So somebody walking by, his name was Ralph Isaacs. He has the same initials of where the doctor came from. Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs, R.I. That's relative to us because we have devices. Hopefully our eye shows up for us tonight. Now, Ralph, he takes him somewhere safe. He says, you're going to be robbed. Let me take you over here. He takes him to 59 Church Street. This is Church Street, just so you guys know. So he takes him up about a mile up the road. Gets him a safe place to stay. The two become friends. Now, the doctor's practice is starting to take off. So he's moving up in the hierarchy of Charleston. Him and Ralph go see plays together, but because of the status of the doctor, he gets better seats. So they can't sit next to each other. They talk about these plays on the way home. They go see William III from Shakespeare. I don't know which theater. No tour guide can tell you because there were dozens. So if somebody claims it was this theater, they're wrong. But they talk about this play. The doctor loves the new actress. Ralph doesn't. So they start arguing. Obviously, this turns into a very ugly argument against the doctor's fiance, Amanda, back home. So obviously, they get pretty mad at each other and they go their separate ways. Now, Ralph is from here. He calls his friends at the newspaper. Not really. There's no phones back then either. He knocks on the door and wants to put an ad in the paper. He wants to tell the city of Charleston what a disgrace the doctor is to the city. He's not from here. He charges too much. Those kind of things. The doctor sees the ad. He rebuttals with, let's go to Jeweler's Alley. Let's settle this. So they come down. They take the 20 paces. They turn. The doctor points his gun in the air and he shoots. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to make a point. However, Ralph has his one shot. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Sorry, he just wanted to trying to kill you. So, just trying to take the kneecap out. So the doctor doesn't come through that death gate that I was telling y'all about. Instead, his friends pick him up and they carry him home to 59 Church Street. He dies 10 days later, probably from bleeding out. So during the time that his practice was taking off, he used to whistle a lot, which means he was proving the point that he wasn't just after Amanda's money. As you walk through the alley, they say you can hear the whistles from the doctor. So when I took my groups down there, it was always, let's be quiet so my regular audio that I'm recording can capture the whistles. It's always hard to debunk the hecklers from the non, but we do have a couple that we weren't able to debunk as a heckler. So take that as you will. So if you're going to walk down there, turn a little recorder on your phones, see what happens. So really cool alley. Not to mention, cameras, like cell phone cameras, go bonkers in there. The settings love to change. So if that happens to you while you're down there, by all means, let me know. I'd love to hear more stories about it. There's like 15 different stories around here. I love to tell the dual story because a lot comes out of that with the spirit boxes. But what I will tell you is that there's two sides to the cemetery. So the reason for that is because this across the street from us, that's where native Charlestonians go. This side is for everybody else. For you history buffs, this is where John Calhoun is buried.
Oh wow, he was a native?
It was not.
Get out!
So they moved him back and forth several times trying to figure out
You would have thought just his reputation would have bumped him up.
Nope. Okay. You have to be from here in order to be buried on that side. So,
Well, I guess he's from Columbia.
I honestly don't know. Quite honest. You can visit his first office. That cemetery gate is open. So, but on the other side of this side of the cemetery is what we call the Pirate House. You can't miss it. It has a big anchor on the front of it. Somebody lives there. Don't go in his backyard. Don't ask me how. So. I get in a little bit of trouble sometimes, guys. So, with that said, I just want to kind of get your mindset on pirates, but that's where Blackbeard's men would actually come in off their ships, have a few drinks, meet with a few girls, and have a bed to sleep on. So I'm trying to keep it PG because we got a much younger crowd here. So, but pirates are definitely a part of Charleston history. So let's get into the Powder Magazine. So this is going to be your final investigation. We are going to dive deep into this and see what we can actually capture. So, Powder Magazine, I told you guys about the Charlestown Wall, correct? This is Cumberland. This is the street that the wall actually came up on. It goes up about half a block past the Powder Magazine. That's the building with the crosses on it. And it starts going south towards Battery. I told you about the one going down East Bay Street. You can see how small the city of Charlestown actually was. So, reason why it's there. This held gunpowder for wars. 7 different wars. It is literally tucked into the corner of the two walls. If it gets attacked from the water, it's 3 blocks away. It's going to be hard to penetrate those walls because they're 32 inches thick. I think we're probably this wide. So if the cannonball makes it all the way through it, it's going to blow up the gunpowder. At least have a hard time. If it does, there's sand in the roof from 1712 that'll go up in the air and it's supposed to fall to put out the fire on the gunpowder. It doesn't work. We know that because we had another powder magazine closer to the edge of the battery, and of course the sand put out the fire. This one has never been attacked, fortunately. This is the oldest government building on the East Coast, finished in 1713. It took a decade to build. That's where a story starts, right in the middle of that decade. 1708. You guys ready? There's a lot of weird twists and turns on this one, so kind of listen. I know the kids are kind of like getting like, oh, he's talking again. But so 1708, a young lady moves here. Her name is Anne Cormack. She moves here with her dad, his mistress, which happens to be her mom, trying to get away from his wife. Talking about those sneaky bed. Right there. So I know most of the adults caught that. Kids, follow me on this one, because I'm going to definitely keep it PG. So as they move in here, obviously, wife is pretty angry. They move here as a new family, and Anne sees the building being finished. She becomes a teenager. It's now 1714, 1715. Pirates are coming through town. Now it's a very excitable thing, right? So this is a big deal. We're right smack in the middle of the golden age of piracy. She falls in love. This guy's name was James Bonney. Did you not hear the name James earlier today? Okay. James Bonney. He's a filthy pirate, so Dad doesn't approve. So what are the two? Oh, he's going to get loud. So they go down to Jamaica and they get married. Anne Cormack now becomes Anne Bonny, the most famous female pirate in the Golden Age. So when she gets down there, she realizes that this is not the Captain Jack Sparrow that she wanted. This guy's he's a spy. He's a privateer for the British. So this isn't who she wanted. He's a coward. So she falls in love again. This guy's name is John Rackham. So John Rackham, his alias was Calico Jack. Much cooler name, much younger guy, has his own ship. She wants to be part of it.
She ran the show. She was the force.
Kind of. She was the influential force. We'll say that.
Okay.
So she wants to be part of the ship.
She had her own ship too, didn't she?
No, she did not.
Shut up.
There is a lot of holes in this story, but I know for certain she did not have her own ship.
Okay.
So you can't have a female on ships because they curse pirate ships. So he says you have to dress like the guy if you want to be part of my crew. I can't let the guys know that there's a girl on my crew. So she's okay with this because Dad used to do the same thing to her back in Ireland to kind of hide her away from his wife. So she's okay with this. She just wants to be a pirate. So she's allowed to be a girl in his quarters, of course, because he's the captain. She eventually gets pregnant. You can't have a pregnant guy on the crew. It just doesn't work. So he sends her to Cuba to go have the baby. Come back, we'll figure it out. I know, I talk a lot. You guys have probably been out all day too, I bet. So when she comes back, there's no baby. They have no idea what happened to the child. She's also dressed like a girl. She doesn't care anymore about hiding her gender. This makes Jack pretty mad. So told you, some of you guys sure. But anyway, so where was it? She comes back, Jack's mad. He just actually captured another pirate crew, and she's going to go down below deck and flirt with these guys to go make him even more jealous. The guy she's flirting with reveals his gender to be a girl, pretending to be a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. So we have another girl doing the exact same thing that she was doing. She convinces this young lady to become part of the crew. Her name is Mary Read, just like you read a book. That's the spelling. So the British find out where they are, and they start rolling in on one of the last final pirate ships, and they bring the whole fleet to take them out. The men of the crew are down below deck, too drunk to come up. It's literally Anne Bonny and Mary Read taking on the entire British fleet by themselves. So, obviously the ship gets captured. The last words that Anne Bonny said to Calico Jack were, "You should have fought like a man instead of going down like a dog." The word dog shows up here often. So, as the ship gets taken, the judge that they're about to go in front of wants to see the two men that fought back by themselves. So all the other men, including Calico Jack, are tried and hung pretty quickly. A week later, November 28th, 1720, Anne Bonny and Mary Read go in front of Chief Justice Nicholas Laws. They reveal their gender. He doesn't care. You're still pirates to me. You're still going to hang. We clear our bellies was the last words they said to him, which basically said that they were both pregnant. He didn't care about that either. We'll delay your hanging. You can't hang a pregnant woman during those times. So he sends them back to jail. Anne Bonny's dad, he's still here in Charleston. He's got his Irish money. He bails her out, brings her back home. What we know from there, she remarried again. Guy number 4, in case you lost track. Mary Read was number 3. Guy number 4, she has 4 children and dies at the age of 84. That's all we know. And those are just common facts from all the books I read about this one. As far as Mary Read goes, she's a pirate in a Jamaican jail. She died from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. It was probably bumpy, oozy, doozy, and very nasty. So, and that was in 1721. It was only a year later. So, as we get closer to the powder magazine, ask any questions you want to. This is kind of your level 3. There's a lot of holes here. The only 2 things I did not give you were the name of Anne Bonnie's parents, so mom and dad, her true mom and dad, what their names were, and the name of Calico Jack's ship. So, again, anything else you want to ask on your spirit boxes, free will. Cameras, if you want to go to the front of the powder magazine, which means you exit the lot, go up the sidewalk, and on your left, if you want to put your cameras inside and record, by all means, do so. Just please don't interrupt other tours, like he's doing to us. So, sorry. The rest of the spirit boxes, let's get them up loud. EMF meters. This is a dead zone. You two get anything on your EMF readings, I'm going to be excited, which means something else is probably going off. So, let's get closer to that powder magazine. Let's see if we can go from.
You said she was married to the woman?
No, she was married the entire time to James Bonnie.
Right.
Now,
And then Jack.
no, Jack tried to buy the dowry. I didn't explain that part of the story. I'm glad you asked. I do this on purpose to see how much comes up out of that. So, Jack tried to buy the dowry from Bonnie, and he refused because he knew his wife was basically born.
Right.
And he didn't care. He owned property at that point. He had already gotten into the family. And Bonnie's father was a farmer up in the Georgetown area, which means Bonnie probably had a piece of the farm that he married into the family with. So again, buying the dowry probably gave him a little bit of stock of whatever was coming out of Dad's farm.
Right.
So eventually Bonnie dies, so when Dad brings her back home, he's probably already gone.
Right. You want to go?
Oh, we want to change batteries.
You were right about the batteries.
Pick this bad boy up.
Yeah.
Too many names.
Huh?
It's a little bit too many names, but you get
Yeah, I get lost in the story.
What is your mom and dad's name?
So, you can see the earthquake bolts right there. There's the iron crossbars in the building. That's the early... The really neat thing about this building in particular is this building has a built as the after. This building is actually the oldest standing structure in Colorado. This is the Powder magazine. This building is 1730.
Who were you married to?
What was your mom and dad's name? What was your mom and dad's name? Gene. What year did you die? How many children did you have? How many children did you have?
Who were you married to?
What was your mom and dad's name?
Do the rest. Beautiful.
Just say beautiful.
What was your mom and dad's name? Gene's the only name I got. That's probably nothing.
What happened to your baby?
That was a good question.
He's the one that went off and had the baby. What happened to your baby?
Does Gene mean anything?
Gene?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
What else do we got?
It goes so fast, it's hard to...
And I have it on the slowest setting. So what I was telling Dad earlier was when I give you the recording back, there's audio markers. So it's going to be 15 to 20, whether it's relevant or not. So let me listen in with you guys just for a minute, and I'll kind of tell you what I hear out of it, because I listen to this thing every day.
Right.
We were trying to ask what the mom and dad's name was.
I was trying to ask, who are you married to? Trying to
So
get
let's,
something.
and Bonnie, tell me what your mother's name was. Nothing I couldn't do. I heard a little mumble.
I thought I heard Robin.
I thought of that too.
Robin.
Yeah, Robin.
That's crazy. Reset it for me. That little button on the right. I'm listening too.
How old were you when you died?
Not in time. That would probably be something I would write down to see if it matches up with something else. Maybe it's a full sentence, I'm just getting little bits of it.
You guys said you don't know what happened to her baby.
Right. I have no idea if the baby even lived.
So is she actually pregnant with the hanging gene, or is that a lie?
I don't know.
'Cause I
Yeah,
know-
lots of holes.
I know when witches or whatever, when I hang witches, they would say that. So have you ever went overseas to do hunts? So I used to live in Germany, and I swear that it was, there was always something.
Well, the old living to the land.
Have you ever watched Fast and Furious? There's Jesse on there. He was at the ghost hunt that we did. It was Missouri prison.
Okay.
It was him and his sister do a show. They had their own ghost hunting show. But he was there as like a guest. And they did a lot of the things, the stick figures, the lasers, the
Yeah, the lasers are meant to be stationary. It's something simple enough I can bring to the tour. I just remember, I get people that know what they're talking
Who
about.
were you married?
Somebody that has no idea. So again, and I get all age brackets.
I just love that he can come because most of the ones in Missouri have to be 16. And he wants to do them, and I don't.
Why I do family friendly. Nothing we did tonight is malevolent. Nothing's dark. The point is, I need to make sure what's dark to me might not be dark to somebody else, or vice versa. So I'm very careful on who my age groups are.
Is this almost like
Oh, he loves it.
do the lights?
There's
Is this like
stuff I talk about. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, I mean, they might care, but we don't want them.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I'm not going to sit here and I'm just going to cut it out and see what we can
He
capture.
wants to be. He talks about this though. That that's what he wants to do when he gets older.
So at the top of your page, all the apps that I trust and that I use regularly are listed up there. Along with, I get most of the stuff from either Amazon or GhostStop. GhostStop, you can usually get things. Where do you guys live in? Missouri. So I get my stuff. They're in Florida, so I get it usually in about 2 days. They'll probably be able to get shit in Florida. If you have questions about any of the devices that they use, I have most of them.
We'll probably get him some positions.
Yep, that's what people do. That's why the link is up there, because everybody calls me. I'm like, remember, the link's at the top of your database.
Okay.
That's mentioned. Maybe you guys are using their stuff. That's actually made by Google. The reason why I have that is because it records even when it's on. In any location. Alright. This is an apartment. We're going to turn it down just in here. Just in here. People live in. They live behind the powder magazine. How weird is that? But you had definitely some spikes here. What was the regular EMF? What did the numbers read when it was doing all that? Anything?
It was like super low. It was like
But still, I seen it go all the way up to blue. Like that's pretty high for this location. We normally don't get, and now it's not doing anything. So obviously you had something going on. What's that? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He had blue, which is really high for this location because normally we don't get anything out of here. So where are we at with the word list?
Who were you married to?
And Bonnie, how did you die?
You're smart. I knew. Get free help.
Did they just say a noose? Oh, this one. Yeah,
I know she was in your home. Or they died in a prison in Jamaica.
that's right.
She died of old age. Bonnie, what was your mom's name?
Things about him based on the verses that they gave us for the clues. So it was enough where I was like, okay, we can get part of this. Add him in. So it was a fundamental figure. So, yeah.
Who were you married
That much I know. And he's
to?
got his own overlist. Yeah. It's over in Marion Square. Yeah. So
He was involved in everything. He was like the third richest man.
I vaguely remember.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I was standing right here and it turned blue for like 5 seconds.
And any other EMF reading? The red numbers?
I don't know.
Okay. That's good. I mean, they do work separately. So one might not be influencing the other and vice versa. So it's just a matter of if you have a low reading and you still have a blue motion light and you weren't moving, you definitely have something going on.
I'm going back over here.
Let's go over right there. Let's go over in this corner and take pictures.
Buried the first person buried. Right by the same house. Literally across the street.
How did you die?
First person buried. I'm trying to find a way to have the street. I walk in on it. Right there. And then all these kids.
It was funny. I actually did a little bit of extra research and I found out that Elijah in Philadelphia, very happy.
And Bonnie, what was your mother's name? And Bonnie, what was your mother's name?
What?
Go over there and sit with your team.
Alright, well, let me tell you why you're getting a reading over there. You got a lot of Alright, let me get everybody up here. Did it say? Anything else before I start collecting? Nothing? Nothing out of your EMF either, Mom?
Earlier, kind of, we got a hay.
Oh, I'm gonna start collecting.
I don't blame her. I don't think that's anything, but and then about a minute after that, we got hay.
Okay. We did get the word love on the word list, so vaguely relative.
We got beautiful that was.
Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting. Alright, let me pull it in together. Brandon, Carly, come on over. We're going to steal the spot while we can. Just go ahead and turn that down just a hair. As I collect these devices, I'll kind of give you the gist of what happens from here. So, tomorrow morning, go ahead and kill your REM pod. He was all excited about that electrical pole. I had to kill it. I'm sorry, buddy. I can't lie.
It happens.
I cannot lie about what happens here. So tomorrow morning you guys will get that text from me. I'm normally done by noon, so if it does take me a little bit longer based on the new type of video, it does take a little bit longer, so don't shoot me if I don't get it to you quicker. Just because I could tell you're the history buff, how were the stories tonight, sir?
It was fantastic.
Okay.
I had things I'd never
I wasn't fishing for compliments. I was looking
No,
for
you did a
honest
great
feedback.
job. No, delivery was great, and obviously you've done your research.
Yes, I do a lot of research, and there's things that I'm still learning. By the way, that George Washington bit about Eliza, I learned that from the tours. That came out of EVPs from my devices. That wasn't something that Charleston said I had to tell, by the way, which I don't do that anyway. I'm an unlicensed guide. I didn't take the test. So this was all about
There's
my
a
research.
test.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
There's a giant 400-page book that they want you to read through about the architecture, history, people, locations, and then take the test and get a license.
Sure.
I don't have a license because you aren't required to have it. Have I read the book? Sure I did, but I read about 50 others about Charleston as well, which is where your stories came from tonight, was mostly those extra textbooks that I read. So, and I keep reading. Let's go with the phones. So, thermal imaging camera. By the way, the answers to the 2 questions that I gave you.